Hi there, this is Scott down in the lounge, and I just have a quick message for you about my plan going forward. So, if I back up 8 or 9 months to when I started doing this podcast, I started with The Wind in the Willows. And the reason for that was primarily because I was really comfortable with that book. I had read it out loud several times before, and I thought that would be a great way to start the process of learning how to do a podcast. I'd never done it before. I had never used the equipment before. I had never used a digital audio workstation before. I had never edited audio, produced audio. I had never done any of that. So I needed a way to figure all that out. And I wanted to read something that I was comfortable with so I didn't have that additional stress on top of everything else. After reading that, I didn't really know what to do next. And so I kind of cast about and decided to start reading the Pulitzer Prize winning novels that were in the public domain. And so I started with the first one, which was awarded to His Family by Ernest Poole, published in 1917 and winner of the award in 1918. And then I continued with The Magnificent Ambersons, which won the award in 1919. And then I just finished The Age of Innocence, which is the third Pulitzer Prize winning novel by Edith Wharton, published in 1920 and winner of the award in 1921. After reading that book, which I thought was wonderful and I really enjoyed it, I started to worry a little bit about continuing on with the list because I'd been doing a little bit of research and a little bit of reading into the Pulitzer Prize process and who was involved and how they went about choosing their winners. And I started to look a little more deeply into the remaining novels in the list that are in the public domain. And I just was not very impressed with what I was seeing. With that in mind, I started doing some additional digging into other lists and other rankings. And of course, there are hundreds and hundreds of those out there in the world. And I had no idea where to look and where to begin and what to value more than something else until I stumbled across a website called The Greatest Books of All Time. Well, actually, the website is called thegreatestbooks.org, and embedded in that website is a list of the greatest books of all time. And this website is an aggregator of hundreds of different book lists. Currently, it's aggregating over 650 best of book lists from around the world from a wide variety of sources, whether they be newspapers or magazines or critics or writers or who knows what. But they've got a huge collection of sources that they aggregate, and then they've got a ranking system and a weighting system that they use on this website, and they use all of this information to try to come up with a definitive list of the greatest books of all time. This was really interesting to me because as I was looking at the list and looking at the top 100 novels on the list or the top 200 or 300 novels on the list, I recognized almost all of them. They're probably those timeless classics that you've heard of yourself as well. And what I was not finding on that list until I really started digging way, way, way down the list were these books listed on the Pulitzer Prize list. And so I put together a little ranking of my own, a little spreadsheet of my own here, just to compare some of the Pulitzer Prize winners to other American novels that were released in the same year, and how the Pulitzer Prize winner fared on the ranking list compared to its competition that year. So, for example, in 1923, the Pulitzer Prize was given to the novel One of Ours by Willa Cather, published in 1922. According to the Greatest Books ranking, that novel is ranked 2,233. So it is the 2,233rd best novel in the world. Also released that year was The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, who, even though he later renounced his American citizenship and became a British citizen, he wrote The Wasteland while he was still an American, and that book is ranked 106 on the greatest novels list. Now, ironically, Willa Cather's best novel, My Antonia, which was released in 1918 and was ranked 170 on the greatest novels list, lost to The Magnificent Ambersons by Booth Tarkington, which is ranked 1,197 on the greatest novels list. So, I started to notice things like this. Then I dug a little deeper and saw some even greater gaffes. As you get into the second half of the 1920s, there are some really serious mistakes made in the Pulitzer Prize award. In 1926, the award was given to Aerosmith by Sinclair Lewis, which ranks 1,627 on the greatest book list. Also released that year is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, ranked number 36 on the greatest books list. And, probably the most egregious error of all, that same year, The Great Gatsby was released by F. Scott Fitzgerald, which is considered to be the number 3 greatest book of all time. And it was not awarded the Pulitzer Prize. The next year, 1927, Louis Bromfield's book Early Autumn was so low on the greatest books list, it's below 11,000. Also released that year, The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway, the number 60 book on the list of all-time greatest books. The next year, 1929. This is probably the highest rated book on the list if you don't include The Age of Innocence. This was The Bridge of San Luis Rey by Thornton Wilder, published in 1927, and that book ranks number 623 on the greatest books list. But also released that year was another Virginia Woolf book, To the Lighthouse, ranked number 28. The next year, 1929, Julia Peterkin's book Scarlet Sister Mary was released. That was published in 1928. That book was also ranked below 11,000 on the greatest book list. That year, again, another Virginia Woolf book, Orlando, rated number 99. And then, maybe the worst year of all for the Pulitzer, 1930, Oliver Lafarge's book Laughing Boy, published in 1929, wins the Pulitzer Prize for American Fiction. And on the greatest books list, it is ranked 9,965. Also released that year was A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway, ranked number 74. And A Room of One's Own, again by Virginia Woolf, ranked 177. And also that year, The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner, ranked number 8, greatest book of all time. None of those books won, and Laughing Boy by Oliver Lafarge did win. So, I'm not trying to disparage any of these other books. I'm sure they're all really great books, and I'm sure I would enjoy reading them. Just like I enjoyed reading His Family by Ernest Poole, even though it's ranked 9,633, and The Magnificent Amberson, which is ranked 1,197. The only book that's in the public domain that has won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction that is anywhere close to the top 500, well, it's right up there, is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton, which is ranked number 98. The closest book to that, in fact, the only book that's ranked below 1,000, other than The Age of Innocence, is The Bridge of San Luis Rey by Thornton Wilder, ranked 623. And I'm sure it's a great book. I'm sure all of these Pulitzer Prize winning books are great books. But the thing is I don't have enough time to read thousands of books. I only have enough time to read 200 or 300 books before I'm done with this. And so I've decided I'm going to start reading the really great books. And so I'm done with the Pulitzer Prize list of award-winning American novels. I'm done with that. What I'm going to be doing now is carefully researching and choosing very highly ranked, revered, classic novels, not just from America, but all around the world, from the 1800s and 1900s that are in the public domain. And I'm going to read as many of those as I can within the top 200 or 300 in the greatest books in the world list. So, that's my message. That's what I'm going to be doing. The next book that I'm going to be starting in just a few days is not a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. I'll let you know what that book is when I produce the author and novel introduction for the book in just a couple of days. So stay tuned. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it, and I know you're going to enjoy it. I'll be speaking to you again very soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.